You're listening to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, episode 17.
On today's episode, we discuss this week in music, kingdom, and life adventures.
So sit back and chill with friends. You're listening to The After Show with the SojuTalk Nation. Welcome to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, a chill discussion on this week in the SojuTalk Nation. We're recording on Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. I'm your host, Crispy, and joining me this week is Therese. Welcome, Therese.
Hi.
How are you today, Therese?
Feeling great. Just got my second dose of COVID.
Oh, you got vaccine number 2. How long ago was that? How many hours ago was that?
6.
6. Okay, so you probably won't feel it yet if you do feel anything at all. But just look forward to any symptoms and immune responses that may be happening in the next, I would say, 6 to 10 hours. Because if you remember, mine was quite severe. So.
Will do.
Some announcements at the very top of the show. We have Soju Sessions this week, a 2-part episode 5 and 6 special edition with Growing Up with ITZY, a really cool discussion I have with Mina and Max, both from the SojuTalk Nation, both enormous wizards. They went into a lot of depth about their history, kind of growing up, being around the same age as the members in ITZY, and kind of what that meant for forming that bond with that group during the past few years. So go ahead and check it out. It is on YouTube. It is on Spotify. It's split up into 2 nice, easily digestible episodes. So listen to one, come back for the other when you have time, you know? And Koala, she is not here with us. She is dead from school. I think Germany, at least her area in Germany, has opened up school physically, so she has been going to school all week. I don't know she doesn't know if they will maintain that, because also school is ending for the school year very soon, so we shall see.
Props to the attempt, schools.
Good attempt. Nice try. All right. Let's move into this week in Soju Talk music. We've got a lot of interesting thoughts and opinions this week, and I kind of wanted to open up with a few words from myself. Growing up with different fandoms, whether that was Star Wars, comic books, anime, and K-pop, were interests I felt I could only enjoy with a small circle of friends, and at a distance from general social and conventional norms. Finding communities to celebrate and expand my K-pop experience never felt personal. I went in and out of spaces and never felt I could plant roots until SojuTalk. Having a home base, starting with Doug, Warren, and Anita, and the routine of the weekly show gave me stability and a connectedness I hadn't felt before. I developed a familiarity with the folks on Discord and grew relationships with people I never would have imagined or would have met naturally in real life. The pandemic happened and heightened all of our desires to fulfill social connections, and I'm grateful for all the varied voices, opinions, and perspectives I've come across over the past 2 years. Soju Talk, episode 137, reminded me why I love the conversations between Doug, Warren, and Anita about K-pop fandom. They were thoughtful, well-researched, and understood the responsibility to speak authentically while being mindful not to exclude those who felt differently. ITZY's MAFIA in the Morning was a very contentious topic of discussion online, in fandom, and in the SojuTalk Discord. I commend Doug, Warren, and Anita for speaking their truth, doing it with a smile, and remembering to laugh. Because at the end of the day, K-pop is about having fun and sharing that experience with those around you. So I want to say that I love these three idiots, and I'm happy to have Therese join me to talk about what these three idiots complained about this week. So let's jump right into the three releases this week. The first one is...
Very well said.
Thank you, thank you. We have Hot Issue with Gratata. On and off. Wow, that was hard. Onf with Ugly Dance, and ITZY Mafia in the Morning. All right, so we've kind of set a tone here today, Therese, and I'm glad you're here with me. Let's start with Hot Issue and Gratata. What are your opinions about the song? And then what were your opinions about how the crew responded to this very 2000s one-y song?
I only listened to this song once or twice, and I really loved it. Like, I put it on my personal Soju chart, even though, like, I've just been too busy to listen to music recently, but definitely left a good impression in my mind of where the kind of music I'm hoping to hear from these new girls. So, really great stuff. I love the sound effects they do, gratata, and the whole beat is just real great, real flames, as you put it.
I feel like 2021 Rookie Girl Group Awards consideration is all flames, all fire. This song slaps. It is kind of awkward and weird with the way that they kind of broke down the details of like the lyrics and kind of the composition, and then kind of thinking about what you want to put forth as far as like your initial impression of a girl group debuting. But I think they all came around to basically saying like, yeah, no, if you wanted to do it, you would probably do it in a really catchy, earwormy way, and in that sense, it's very much a success. How did you feel about?
Agree.
Yeah, how did you feel about just the overall back and forth conversation, them going from, man, these lyrics are cringe, and then flipping to be like, well, yeah, they're cringy, but you know, it's kind of lit, you know?
It's so fun. Like, I didn't quite understand what they meant when they said the lyrics were cringy, because I didn't listen to it that much, so I was just hearing the music, and all I heard was a straight fire. And it kind of reminded me of Gravity's release earlier with the vroom 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 vroom, vroom skirt. It's like no one would actually sing that in a song, but it was so much fun to listen to and meme about online. So I took it as more of a trash trap music track, the way that they were hoping it would be. I guess I just didn't get all that into it like they did.
Yeah, and I think it really goes to show that they do put the time to listen to a song repeatedly, and trying to personally dissect what the song means to them. I actually feel like if Hot Issue continued on this path of like trashy trap music, I would be here for it, because I think we kind of need more of it. And it didn't. I mean, I think intuitively I understood that there was like a very chanty section to the song, and that's kind of the reason why it felt very earwormy. But I wasn't able to like process the way that they talked about it on the show, where it took away some of the vocal flexing that could have happened to kind of like push like that side of this group. But I will say, like, because of that catchy chant, I think it ranks fairly high on the memorable scale of what you kind of want to enjoy about K-pop and songs like this.
Oh yeah. And I'll agree, I'm not huge into chanty choruses from either boy groups or girl groups. Like, I can't get all that into some NCT songs because of it, or what was the really chanty one recently? I think it was Wakey Makey, and I just like
Cool.
I understand, but I think this was a good kind of chanty. Maybe I'm just feeling it more now that I'm into the degenerate side of give me more trash music. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is a great way to differentiate themselves from the other girl groups that have debuted over the past 6 to 8 months. Yeah, I think if they just keep leaning into the trashy trap music, we've got another 2021 girl group rookie sensation. So way to go, Hot Issue. Yeah, I think just generally positive feeling about this song. Moving on to the next song, a boy group that you like quite a bit. We have On and Off, or as we like to call them, ONF, with Ugly Dance. Some quick notes: Stan Robots and Future Stuff. Therese,
Yeah,
you're the boy group Stan. You actually like this group quite a bit. What are your thoughts and
I
feelings about
do.
them?
I think this, I call it a comeback. It's technically a repackage, still a comeback. I think I've solidified my bias based on this. Ishan, shout out to him. He's a great dancer, and he has a really bright, I think it was red hair. Um, he's just fun to watch. And this was a very performance heavy music video since it was all choreo, which I know you like.
I'm a big fan. Yes.
Yeah. So I think this fits right into their niche of music, with their kind of acapella sound, and the robots were there. That's always fun. Really, just like a great track.
Yeah. I think well, going off of the main theme from the main show this week of lyrics, "What's up, bro? What's up, sis?" Not a lyric I
Oh
caught the
yeah.
first time. What?
Oh,
But
what's up, bro? What's up, sis?
but then go revisiting the song. Oh yeah, that stands out. Kind of interesting how Anita had a very visceral response to it in that moment on the show.
Yeah. I was surprised. I love it. I mean, it's also kind of cringy, but good kind of cringy, in my opinion.
Right, it kind of works. I mean, they are a lighter group as far as sound and
Hmm.
concept and visual presentation. So I kind of do feel like cringier lyrics work better for a group like this because they can play it off as fun, play it off as just being youthful.
Yeah.
What did you think about Warren saying cliches and overused tropes with reference to On and Off? Because to me, like I am just not as in touch with boy groups and I don't notice as well. Do you feel like there were a lot of cliches and tropes that On and Off repeated from other boy groups, or at least within their previous releases?
I think they're definitely doing a formula, of what they know works. I don't think. I'm sure it does play into some cliches because there's just so many boy groups, but I think they also know their own style, and I think they're good at presenting. If it is a cliche, it's a cliche in their style. So I don't hate it, but I'm also biased because I like the group and I like the performers. Um, and I think they even mentioned that in, part of the rap they were talking about, but they liked it still because it was a Wyatt rap, and he's really good at performing in his own style.
Yeah, I think when there are certain qualities of a group that are highlighted in any of their songs, even if certain areas of the songs are not as strong as previous releases, I think if certain things are done well, it kind of flips a lot of the cliches and overused tropes into okay, it's just kind of part of their formula, which works because again, it's familiarity. It's something you can anticipate and expect. So at least it helps you stay grounded within like the group and the music and what you already know about them. Any
Yeah.
closing thoughts about On and Off and sci-fi lore and all that stuff?
Not really. I didn't expect to. When I first heard the song, it didn't stand out to me that much, but the more I listen to it, the more I like it. So, yeah, give it another listen.
I did, and I don't typically listen to very many boy group releases throughout the year, so On and Off is
I
slowly
think,
seeping into that
yeah.
like that group
I
of
was
boy
gonna say,
groups.
I think On and Off is your kind of boy
I
group.
think so too. And it's kind of funny because Doug likes the song a lot, and I think he likes On and Off in general, which kind of it's not weird, but it's cool to think that Doug and I have similar taste in boys.
Yes.
Phrasing. Let's move on. We have the very hot button issue, very popular point of discussion this week. Song and release from a girl group that you and I both love and adore. A girl group that is on the rise, that a lot of people know about, who are K-pop fans and who are even just general fans of K-pop music moving west, right? We have ITZY with MAFIA in the Morning. The crew went into a very lengthy discussion. I think they went 10 minutes, if not more than 10 minutes, on just this song. And they don't typically do that, which I found very fascinating. And
I think our server definitely set them up as high expectations to hear their thoughts on it. So they wanted to be completely clear with how they perceived the whole music video.
Yeah, I think the crew, well, to commend the crew just a little bit further with ITZY specifically, I think they did a nice job bookending the conversation with saying, this is our opinion. And at the very end, this is our opinion, and it shouldn't affect the way that you feel about the song, if you love the song, if you like the song. Because as they said throughout the conversation, they like the song. It's a fine song. It's something that they can listen to on repeat. They don't think it's a very good song, and that there may be larger issues with the song that the girls themselves had no control over, and that's the conversation points that they wanted to shine a light on, as opposed to the girls in and of themselves. With that, I have a couple positive things and a couple negative things that align with the crew. I did want to say that the music video, the expensive theming, was excellent. I thought, like, visually it was very powerful, very much lining up with what Doug said about him liking this video the most out of the 5 releases so far for title tracks. And I think that just goes to show that because of their success over the past 2 years, they got a larger budget. It happens. It's great. Choreo, degree of difficulty, definitely up there. Doug mentioned that it may be the most difficult or best choreo in his opinion. No disagreement there. I think if you watch all the stages, if you watch all the content, Studio Chum, wherever, it's amazing. Holy smokes. Amazing styling. Anita brought that up a little bit. And to me, doubling down on the edginess, you know what? It's a big swing. Do you? Before I get into kind of the negatives, what were your thoughts and opinions and takes about how the crew received the song?
I wasn't really surprised, mostly because they prefaced this a bit in our discussions on the Discord about, they probably didn't feel the same way everyone else was feeling. I myself don't have any strong opinions about it, but I agree that the music video was one of my favorites. I would say that Wannabe is like my favorite music video by them, and I think this went higher. So that makes me excited, especially the setting they had looked very Met Gala inspired from the camp theme that was done in 2019, I think. And that was like the last big trip I took was to New York, and I saw the camp exhibit. So it hit a part of my heart that was like, oh, the before times. And it got me into more of a party mood because, that was a huge party. I really liked all of the individual member parts. I think Ryujin killed it. I for sure agree with that.
Wasn't your username changed for a day or two? Would you like to share exactly what that was?
Yeah, it was Ryujin is hot. That was my username, and I stand by it.
I stand next to you. So, yeah, I think everything you said definitely are like very personal attachments to what art and messaging and art can evoke out of a person. And I think that's very important because everyone's experience does paint how they receive and experience the thing we love most, K-pop here. So thank you for sharing that, because I think that also like gives insight into how someone can someone's personal history can definitely affect the way that they experience something, and have a net positive in how their life is ultimately kind of remembered through those moments.
Yeah.
Some of the negatives that I do agree with about the crew, for me personally, not my favorite title track. I would say it's fourth, possibly fifth out of the five. Musically, I would say musically, because after watching the music video several times and all the performances and stages, I still like to listen to music on Spotify, on a walk, outside, in nature. And the song is not as pleasant without the music video and visuals. I think there is a lot of rapping, perhaps too much rapping. I think there's a lot of
Yeah,
sing
I have
talking,
saw that.
perhaps too much sing talking. And I think there are songs that on the album that I favor far more than this song. What did you think about the back and forth on the show that Doug had with treading the line of moving towards his more critical opinions, and then Warren kind of just going all in and saying like, I spent 2 days with this song. This is how I broke down the composition. I have a background in music. These are the things that stand out to me.
I think there were very valid points made all across the board. I think, and this is kind of a take that was brought up with some other people in the Discord. I don't think ITZY is as musically strong as other girl groups, but performance-wise, they stand out a lot, which is like fine, because even Not Shy, I wasn't crazy about, but I'll still listen to it because I like the group, and the more I listen to it, the more I sing along to it, not because it's a good song, but because it's like the song for ITZY. So you just you get used to it, and you don't complain about it in the future. Like, you're not like, oh man, I wish this song was different. You're just like, yeah, this is another song that was made for ITZY and they performed it. I do think there was too much rapping for them, because I don't think they have a very strong rap line, and female idols rapping poorly is very hard for me to listen to. So I think, you know, they did the best they could. Absolutely, they might have tried a little too hard, but it's still good. I'll still listen to it. I'll still jam along to it.
And they mentioned this on the show, and it kind of goes into they still love ITZY as a group. They love ITZY as members, as people. But again, it's the adults in the room. It's the producers. It's whoever faceless corporate spokesperson you want to attach to that's made these decisions. That said, this is the song we're going to give you. We're going to figure out how to fit you into this song. And I do want to kind of point to a point they made about pivoting and how Twice pivoted to Fancy. Well, also Twice was 5 years into being a group with an established image, with established fan base, and a direction. This is ITZY's, I think they're going into their third year. They're into their third year. But at the same time, it's like you're still 2 years into the spotlight, still developing the foundational pieces of how you want to be perceived. And I think a pivot this drastic is very jarring. And I think therein lies like the big problem, because yes, like the composition and things may have been messy and maybe not have been done to the best of their abilities, but you can get away with it if you've had 4 years of being a group and then you make the pivot where it's like, okay, we wanted something else, we got something else, where it's like, this is like, you could have just done the same recipe and it would have been just fine.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they kind of forced them into a style that they weren't necessarily ready for. And I actually like the song. I made a hot take. I don't know how many people saw it or reacted to it, but I said that if this was a Stray Kids song, I would be bopping to it hardcore. I had noticed on the credits, there's Ear Attack, who is a producer, composer. I'm not really sure, but he works, or he or she works with JYP on a lot of songs. Like he did Got Seven Songs, Twice Songs. I think he did Cry for Me, and like You Calling My Name, and then like the entire Go Live album. So I really like the bones of the song, but I do think that they kind of molded it around this image they wanted for ITZY, and I don't think that meshed well.
Yeah, I think. I mean, everything you said was amazing. It was so insightful. And I think the way that you compared it to a Stray Kids song, we also have to remember the life cycle of where Stray Kids are and ITZY are right now. Where Stray
Yeah,
Kids are a
it's
little bit
true.
more polished, a little bit more refined. I mean, you can see it on Kingdom. I mean, they're hitting all the musical, I guess, musical like benchmarks, and then they have kids who produce music and have a hand in like the creation process. Whereas ITZY, like you said, like they may not be known for their music as much as their performance, but then how much of the music that they've produced up until this point have they had a hand in? And
Yeah.
this kind of goes into it where it's like you gotta let them develop as musicians but also as people. And remember, they're very young still. I think the oldest member is only 21 or 22. So so you gotta let them. There's a developmental critical period, and I don't think they've hit it there yet because they still need to come into age and kind of come into the understanding of how the world works musically, and also with the grand scheme of how your music is going to be received. So yeah,
Have they
go ahead.
done a world tour yet?
They did a showcase in the U.S. right before COVID.
Ah, it's
Yes.
so crazy how like some of the groups we think as established are still they haven't even like gone to a big stage
Yeah.
in the West or outside of Korea. That's crazy.
They're still kids. And I mean, that kind of goes into it where it's like, you could do this with Stray Kids because they've been around for a minute,
Yeah.
but ITZY,
Ah,
it might have been a little too ambitious to try to put this on them right now.
yeah. I'm excited to see how they develop themselves as performers and artists. And then maybe like after that point when they return to this song, um, it might be more enjoyable
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a polishing of how the song is going to be presented in the future. But this is the version we got. And you know what? I'm cool with it. I can live with it. It's not the
We're
end of the
cool with it.
world
Yeah.
because ultimately we want to have fun with K-pop. All right.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the Soju chart this week. I love this set of results. I will just go backwards from
Yes.
3 going to number 1. So we have at number 3, On and Off, Onf with Ugly Dance, and Hypen with Drunk Days, and the future 2021 girl group Rookie of the Year, Stacy with ASAP, getting their third crown in 4 weeks, moving into the Hall of Spice with the likes of BTS and Twice. So,
This is
go ahead.
kind of incredible.
4 weeks.
I I honestly I've been comparing Stacy and Weekly, just because they had like similar comeback dates and their songs have sort of similar vibes. I really wish that Weekly made it to this point, but they were in IU time. So yeah, I guess it's all about timing.
Yeah, it's all about timing. And again, not to diminish anything Weekly has accomplished, and they will definitely accomplish probably far more, especially within our server. We have a lot of fans. We have a lot of dailies. It's just great timing on Stacy and ASAP, and I couldn't be happier because this mini album has been the thing on repeat for 4 weeks. Like for me, I can't stop listening to it. It hits a certain kind of way, you know. Any other thoughts
I'm
and
on
opinions?
Team Weekly, but
Well, the thing is, you don't have to put them at odds with each other because chances are,
no, it's how I've been doing it. It's wrong.
well, just hope that they have a comeback at the same time, not because they can compete against each other, but so they can do collaboration TikToks,
That would be so great.
just like ITZY and Stacy this past week.
Ooh.
For all the
Yeah.
midsies out there and the Swits that don't know it yet, you all probably died watching all those TikTok collaborations. Do not lie. Come out and say it. You are welcome.
I was pretty happy myself because they also collabed with AB6.
Oh, nice. Well, see, there you go. Some boy group love also. Yeah, I think overall, after the spice from the songs this week, the Soju chart was very mellow, very mild. So, yeah, I think an overall great set of music results and music discussion this week from the crew. I think this is probably, in my opinion, one of my favorite and one of the richest conversations that they've had because they were able to go into such depth about a lot of things. So, yeah. All right, let's move on now to State of the Nation. They went over a lot. Well, between the news section and State of the Nation this week, it did kind of blend together for me as I was listening to it on a walk this morning. But yeah, go ahead, Therese. Was there anything that stood out to you with regards to the news or State of the Nation in the crew's lives?
Just a few things. I'm happy to hear that Doug was going to watch Gurren Lagann. That's like one of my all-time favorite animes, just because it's one of those animes that incorporates every single genre of anime. So, very excited to see what he says.
Is that the one he started talking about that felt dated? Is how he started?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
definitely old.
Okay, it's like an older anime. Got it. Yeah, no, classic anime is great. It really goes to show like the progression of animation and progression of storytelling. And I do feel like a lot of anime encapsulates the era in which it was released, and that tells you a lot about the socio-political feelings about the world in Japan at that time. At least as far as like my understanding of the underlying themes that a lot of anime produced in the 80s and 90s.
Wow, you get into it deeper than I do.
Sorry, it's just that's how my brain works.
I'm just like fighting robots, cool.
My brain just like works that way. It's like I try like to enjoy things at face value, but then all of a sudden like my brain turns into like ADHD, and I hope I don't offend anyone who actually has ADHD. But just I start to think about every single like thread that connects into like when something was made and what they were trying to say behind it. So, but if you like watching big things blow up, that's pretty cool too. Doug also did a little bit of a retrospective on ITZY. I thought that was very sincere and meaningful. Just a couple of things about their life cycle, the unfortunate events that kind of stunted a few of their releases. But overall, I think it's still a great experience. And I think, and Warren put it best that ITZY was an example of a successful model following fandom-based instead of general public focused model. I thought that was a really cool, interesting like business perspective. And you know, if we could make a suggestion to the crew, if they would like to go into the business side of how Korean culture and Korean entertainment works, I would be for it.
Ooh.
I would listen to it on repeat because to me that's like super fascinating and informative of how I want to be as a consumer. So yeah, just my 2 cents there. Any other things that they talked about that stood out to you this week, Therese?
I guess just the shout out to Run BTS and their collab with, I already forgot what it's called. I'm glad Warren's going to be watching some BTS variety since I think the crew could use a little more BTS knowledge before the upcoming song release, since it seems like they're diving into some lore, as you don't like. I know, but I think it'll be interesting. I don't think it'll be the happy-go-lucky summer song that Dynamite was.
You got your COVID shot, but I think you got some allergies because you like coughed a word that I
Uh-huh.
didn't completely understand. But it's okay.
Uh-huh.
Just allergies are a thing. I'm suffering through some allergy situation myself, so I can understand. I empathize. Yeah, a lot of BTS coming up. It's gonna be interesting to see like how much in depth the crew goes into as far as research and following the lead up to the new release. And
Yeah.
honestly, like I
I know Doug has
but
listened to some B-sides, so at least we're not all lost.
yeah, and I think Nuna will probably be a great resource on the BTS channel. I think she's always willing,
Absolutely.
able, and very willing. Let's move on now to Kingdom. The crew. I really like the way the crew talked about Kingdom this week. I think they did a really nice job, staying
Oh
very
yeah.
focused on a lot of the messaging. And well, let me just go over your opinions. So we had ATEEZ with Rhythm Ta, B2B with Backdoor, Stray Kids with Pray, I'll Be Your Man, and this is the last three songs of the Reborn Challenge, which they pair up with another group and they cover each other's song. What were your thoughts, opinions of the overall show and kind of the things that they focused on the main show today?
These were some hella performances. I am so upset that they won't be performing next week. um, but for this week, really loved the performances. Of course, ATEEZ has been killing it. I want to say if Stray Kids is my group bias in Kingdom, ATEEZ is bias wrecking me. Yeah, and B2B. Wow. um, I think it was kind of unfair that they chose Backdoor because, in my opinion, Backdoor was the best song that was performed for this round. Um, I also, so there's been a lot of discussion, at least on our TikTok, about remixing songs. For me, all of the songs from last week, this week, I like the remixes more than the original songs. So I just think it gives the stage something new and it engages me because like I've seen Backdoor perform so many times on so many different shows. Um, and seeing another artist perform it, it would be strange if they just did a cover. So I'm glad that they made it their own. And that goes the same for Rhythm Ta and SF9's. Oh, they like all of the stages were so good, and I really liked what they all did musically.
Oh, so let me yell. I really like that song too.
Yeah,
Oh, so let
that's one
me
song that
yell.
I wasn't super familiar with
Yeah,
that they did.
yeah. That's kind of funny. I was like, I'm not the boy group fan, and that song's the one I'm familiar with. But as is life. I think you. Well, I paused for a second. I think your perspective is very important because you represent, I think, the demographic of the fans who watch the show, in the sense that if you are a boy group stan, if you are familiar or as deeply invested in even half of these groups, chances are more than half, then you will probably have followed the content, the stages, the songs to a far greater depth than someone like myself, who is a very casual fan, who's still learning about boy groups and stages and songs. So I think you saying that you liking the remixed versions with crazy changed up stages because it adds so much more differentiation from the original version makes a lot of sense. And I think that is probably
Yeah.
what is capturing the audience, is the fans who know these groups already, know these songs already. What can you do to a song, a performance that's new? How can you flip it? For me, I think the B2B Backdoor performance was my favorite of not just this episode, but all six in this challenge, because
Wow. Yep.
I think they effectively used the stage the best. They turned it into a
Yeah.
stage performance where they were telling a story. I actually felt like it was in a different space with the different rooms.
Yeah, it did feel that way.
Yeah, like a hallway that led to an opening that was very clearly then a stage, but then a stage utilizing all of the space with the fans on the side. So yeah, props to B2B for creatively putting that together, all the production crew for creatively thinking how to utilize space. Because for me, when I look at a stage performance, and this also goes to kind of like filmmaking and movies, how do you use the geography of the stage to tell the story, or the space to tell a story? And I think B2B does that the best, in addition to the musical components. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this was one of those cases where they had to use the camera setup. Like, they wouldn't be able to perform this on a stage in front of an audience. So it was really well done for a remote viewing. So, very good stuff. Awesome song, awesome vocals, awesome abs. Very nice.
Let's talk about that. So we had a shirt rip. Who is this member, and tell me more about why you love him now.
Love him. Yeah, so I think we've gone over this. I don't know B2B. I don't ever follow them because I don't really listen to slow songs or anything in the ballad genre. But Minhyuk, man, who is this guy that is so handsome and so talented and dancing with swords and taking off his clothes? Like, who wouldn't fall in love with this guy?
Did your brain stop? I feel like your brain stopped.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm too busy thinking about Minhyuk.
Too busy visualizing all of the things you've experienced in the past few weeks.
It's extra special because I love Backdoor. It's my favorite Stray Kids song, of Stray Kids being my second favorite group of all time. Like, I just completely simped out for this performance. And I absolutely love rock music. This is just all around great time. All around.
I think this may be like the perfect storm and perfect combination of things that resonate with you. Like this is like a conclusion I'm coming to, like, in the moment. It's just like, wow, like these are all the things that actually check out with my impression of you.
Yeah. Although I will say, out of all of the 6 groups, I put SF9 at the first. It could be because it was the first stage I saw, so it left a huge impression on me. But they did a great job, and their song was really great. And I think ATEEZ was second because they've just been killing it. Their performance is so great. I think I am for sure biased towards B2B on this performance. So they were in third. Because I didn't know if it was just me.
It seems like you've got a few bias records going on, but you know what?
Lots of great things happening on this show.
You know, as Warren would put it, we're at a buffet. Why would you limit yourself to the front of the line when you know at the very end there's desserts, there's cakes, there's sweets, you know? There's things with whipped cream on them. However you want. We are
officially
think about
the SojuTalk Nation podcast with food analogies.
Exactly. I needed to like get that into stay on brand. I think I'm contracted to do at least one food analogy to keep Warren interested. Yeah. Just to quickly go over the other 2 groups. So we have ATEEZ. Shout out to Simpin Icon. I did watch the full episode, so the process and just how they put together the songs. They called a couple of the members. Very cool that they have that relationship. Mm-hmm. And then shout out to the editor who put in Brave Girls Rollin' as they were rehearsing.
I like how that's what you took away.
Excellent performance.
3-second.
Excellent performance on stage. Reference. But honestly, my favorite part of their performance in story. I'm just gonna leave that there. And then also Doug pointed out the cool rope perspective. That was pretty cool. I think that did stand out to me quite a bit. With Stray Kids, just to close out Kingdom. Again, a lot of cool setup and process. 3RACHA with Peniel and, can you pronounce his name for me? I cannot pronounce his name.
Unkwang? I'm
Unkwang?
not sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Unkwang. I am so sorry to all the Korean listeners.
I, yeah, we are American.
It's one of those. It's like you hear it on the show, and it's like I could totally say that, and then you read it romanized. You're like, I don't think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah. Really great Skiz and B2B moments.
Yeah, I thought that was nice to utilize them together in the same room.
Yeah.
And it's just really cute to see them like steal each other's phones and like listen to each other's samples. It's just like, man, this is what creative people do. I want to be creative. But we do have to talk.
You did like Stray Kids.
I did like the process, the song and performance. I understood why they were. Well, here's the thing. It's like I'm never like hypercritical of anything that boy groups do because I personally can't differentiate. This is just like my own ignorance. Like it's hard for me to be as critical. But also I don't want to be critical. I just kind of want to enjoy it. I will say I understood why they were so hard on themselves at the very end. I think that was clear, where it's just like they felt like they didn't do the best. And if I'm trying to recall like the other performances and compare them, it didn't feel like it was better than anyone else's. So that said,
I know what you're talking about. I think this was kind of a weak link in their performances, but I mean, if this is their weakest, they're still great performers, of course. I feel it's unfair to put them back to back with B2B because you really can't compare their vocal strengths. I think they have one or two members that are really vocal strong, and then they're mostly a rap group. So they did a really great job with this stage, and I do think they're good singers. I just don't think that they reached the level that they probably needed to. So
yeah, and it did really show with IN and that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to go into the scene and tell the audience kind of what happened and your feelings about it?
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, like, poor IN. He's the maknae of the group, and he has kind of been thrust into this position since Hyunjin has temporarily left due to the bullying scandals. But IN hasn't had much showcase at all in their group history. I mean, Hyunjin just got showcased with their last couple comebacks. So I think they're trying to place IN more prominently to get, more fans interested in him as a member. But he does seem like I wouldn't say that he isn't ready. This has just been thrust upon him, and he's definitely having anxiety about it. And I can totally relate to that, being thrust into a situation of more responsibility and just being worried that you're going to screw it up. But as long as everyone remembers it's okay to make mistakes, like it's not the end of the world, I'm sure he'll grow into a really great performer.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask for the performers to switch on the fly like this. Yes, right. Granted, they are like professionals and they're supposed to be able to perform at a moment's notice. Excuse me, but they with the scandal kind of like coming in the way it did, I think it just emotionally caught them all off guard. And
yeah,
again, it's like it's your brother, and you gotta try to reconcile all those personal emotions and feelings, and then also perform. So, I mean, it's a lot, but very understandable that the members were consoling him and trying to support him through how he was feeling. Any other thoughts about the episode? I actually really liked it, and I watched the full episode under your recommendation, and I don't regret it. So nice.
Yeah, this was one that was very entertaining.
Nice. Well, that does it for our Kingdom discussion this week. Again, I'd like to thank the crew for setting up really nice parameters of how they talked about it, the things they focused on. Again, I think it very much continues on with the fun and joy that they have when they talk about K-pop. And yeah, I just hope that we're able to further that conversation with the same sense of joy and vigor with all the things that we have to say. yeah, Teresa, let's move on to our weekly check-in, our closing thoughts. I have a list
Okay.
of things, but you know what? You're our guest this week. Anything in life you want to update us on?
Yeah, so lots of life changes going on. I did get a job. I'm no longer unemployed. I'm very happy about it and also scared. And I've been trying to move, but as it turns out, it's very hard to move during a pandemic, considering my two roommates have come into contact with a positive case just like this past weekend, and I was planning on getting everything out and driving up this week. But because of this hang up, having to push everything back and everything, it's stressful. It's like, what, this is not a situation that anyone has ever been in. I mean, I'm sure in the world, but it's not something that you could search up on Reddit and easily find. So just everyone get vaccinated just in case like something like this happens. You never know who you're going to come in contact with that people interact with on a regular basis, and it can affect their lives. That's it for my PSA. Otherwise, life is great and exciting, and I'm glad that things are picking up a little bit for everyone.
Yeah, I really hope the best for your situation, and I'm hopeful and optimistic that nobody will contract anything, and things go smoothly from this point on for you. So you know what,
Yeah.
you go, Therese. You're making moves and literally moving. So definitely proud of where you proud of wow, that was hard to say. Proud of where you've gotten and where you're going. So very nice.
Ooh.
For me, well, I just made a list of the comebacks that they mentioned on the show. We're gonna name them.
Because that's exciting.
I mean, I wasn't excited about it until they named them all, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I'm kind of hyped. All right, so I'm just gonna run through them. So we have "Oh My Girl," Twice, Rocket Punch, Framos 9, Taemin, Try B, Goyo, GWSN,
Girls in the park.
Girls in the Park, Everglow, TXT, Monsta X, Ghost 9, and Cards BM. I will say
Wow.
this is amazing. It's great. I think
All in 1 week? No, this is the month.
over the next 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was getting overwhelmed for a second.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I will say
I love it.
I'm most hyped
know
about "Oh My
we-
Girl" in the next few days
Yes.
because my feelings towards "Oh My Girl" and Arin and Yua and Jiho
And all of that.
and Sungi and Binny
I think
and Hyojin.
I'm most excited for Everglow. I love Everglow. I hope that they pop off like crazy. Yay!
They've been on this upward trajectory of songs that have just surprised the general audience of how well put together it is. I don't even know how else best to put it. Like, because you
Their
would
title
imagine,
tracks
yeah, go
are
ahead.
like title tracks.
Yeah, it really just like packs a punch and just like captures like that sound and that whatever they were trying to do in that moment. I mean, you will remember Everglow for it. Is how
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
Not as much of a punch as Rocket Punch, but
Oh, 10 out of 10 pun. Warren will be proud. I'm actually curious because I didn't put the math. I didn't like math this together and realize that an ITZY member could conceivably be added to this comeback in 4 days.
I don't know if that is possible. I mean, I don't really follow the ITZY members and where they're headed currently, but it doesn't seem likely to me. We'll see.
Yeah, I think I agree. It doesn't seem likely, but just having that thought now out in my head, I can't not think about it. It's stuck
Right.
there. It's like, damn it, I kind of want this to happen.
Well, it would be really crazy if they joined mid comeback and then all of a sudden there's someone else on stage.
That would, you know what, Teresa, you have it all planned out. You know how to make the most surprising entrance is what I'm hearing here. Well, aside from K-pop, life stuff, the weather's getting really nice in California. I've been outside a lot. I take 3-hour walks every day.
Wow.
I just got. So I've been listening to podcasts. So I listen to a lot of sports podcasts. I listened to the main show this morning on my walk. It was great. I also listened to audiobooks. I wrote a whole thing about the audiobook I'm listening to. It's a book I've read before. It's called The Elegant Design. It just talks about the fundamental nature of the universe. That is actually
Cool.
probably all I'll say, because anything else might get a little too granular and too existential. Let's just say it was written in 1999. I'm listening to the second edition where he does talk about like the progress in science. Talks about relativity, quantum mechanics. Let's just say it's far more accessible than you would think, and it really does help give you a framework with your place in the universe and the cosmos. And I think for me, I can reflect that what I'm doing is important if I can perpetuate some sense of positivity in this vast empty space that we like to call our home, which is our universe. So there you go.
Wow.
Thank you. Um, yeah, that's all my updates. Any final words, closing thoughts, positive remarks you'd like to leave for everybody in the nation?
Bam Bam is on TikTok. This is huge. Go follow him because I expect a lot of crackhead energy. And there was this news story I just came across today where someone apparently gave birth on an airplane from Salt Lake City to Honolulu. And it's kind of crazy. Go read about it. It's like she didn't even know she was pregnant, which is insane. And then she happened to be on a flight with 3 neonatal nurses. So that's very lucky.
Hold on.
Like,
Okay. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. Okay, the giving birth on an airplane, okay, I feel like that is far more common than we like to think. So, okay, I can believe that. She not knowing that she was pregnant. Nine months of a thing growing inside of you, your entire body changing. Explain.
I mean, apparently this is pretty common. The nurses gave a statement about it in an article I read. They said that, just not knowing you're pregnant, it happens more often than you think. And I guess it makes sense because if you're a woman, you understand that your menstrual cycle usually comes with certain side effects. Those side effects are the same side effects as pregnancy. So you would not know either way. There'd just be one difference. So it's kind of girls are weird. Biology is weird. It can happen.
And with that, I think that is a perfect place to end the show. Girls are weird and biology is weird. It can happen.
I would say more like anything can happen. So just prepare. But yes, also girls are weird.
And with that, that is the episode for the week. I'd like to thank Therese for joining me. Excellent show, as always, Therese.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, episode 17. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform, and continue the conversation on the SojuTalk Kpop Podcast Discord. This has been the SojuTalk Nation for Therese. This is Crispy. Bye.
Bye.
Happy May 4th. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.